Hello there. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it may be for you. We are back to serve you. And today we have chosen a specific topic to cover off today. And we're going to be talking about commitment and what does it really mean to be committed? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. And of course, all of the messages that we deliver here are designed to help you, to contribute in your life, and perhaps inspire you to experience more of whatever it is that you desire to experience in your life. So I'm here with my wonderful friend and co creator, Roddy is here. And so I will be doing a teaching part, and then I'm going to go to open Q&A, and we're going to be online here together for about 30 minutes. So if you have questions for me, I am delighted to answer any questions that you may have. And also, if the questions are relative to the content or the subject of the day, great. And if not, that's okay too. So we're going to talk about commitment and what really is commitment and how can you be committed? What does it really mean to be committed? You know, I really believe that there's a big difference between interest and commitment. And there's a great quote by Ken Blanchard, and I pulled up the quote so I could share it with you today. So what Ken Blanchard says is the following. He says, there is a difference between interest and commitment. So when you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. But when you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. So let's think about you and your level of commitment to your goals, and whether you've simply had an interest in making improvement in your life or whether you're really committed. Now, how do you know? Well, you'll know by the dedication that you have to the success, whether you're actually really focused on the outcome, whether you're resilient. In other words, when you're faced with adversity, you rise above. You either go around, go over, go under. You're in an attitude or with an attitude of whatever it takes. Now, when I say whatever it takes, I really mean whatever it takes, provided it's legal, ethical, moral, it's of integrity, it's in alignment with your values. So it's not whatever it takes at the sacrifice of something that's important to you, not at all. It really is a commitment that every single day you are committed to your goals. You're committed to your outcomes. Now, how do you know if you're committed? Well, it's easy to determine if you're committed or not. You'll know by your discipline. Are you disciplined, or have you become disciplined enough to really fulfill these goals, accomplish these goals that you've set for yourself? Now, the truth is this: you do not have to know how you're going to accomplish your goals, but you definitely have to see yourself in the experience of the goal. In other words, you're feeling as if it's already there. The goal has already been manifested in your life, and you're embracing that emotional experience, and you're doing that on a consistent basis. So just ask yourself this question: are you committed, or are you simply interested? If you hop on these calls every once in a while, or you casually study success, it's likely an interest. But if you're committed to success, you're studying every single day. You've disciplined yourself to do the things that put you into alignment of your goals, and it has become a habit for you. That's how you'll know if you're really committed. Like, being committed doesn't mean you have all the answers. Being committed doesn't mean that you know every single step along the way of what it is that you're going to do in order to get to where you want to go. Being committed just means that you're committed to that outcome, even though you have no idea how you're going to get there. Like, I think back to 1995 when I was committed to purchasing a home. I didn't have the money. I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I was committed to the outcome. And I understood the laws of the universe. I understand how to work in harmony with those laws, and understood what my responsibility is as it relates to accomplishing certain goals. So I became very committed, and I demonstrated my commitment by having these disciplines every single day. But another way that commitment was demonstrated is by taking a pen and making a decision. And the decision was that I was purchasing a home, even though I had no idea how I was going to get there. I made an irrevocable decision. When you're making irrevocable decisions to do something, to invest in yourself, to make a commitment get the necessary understanding to get to where you want to go, that demonstrates that you're committed. Okay. And that's what I did in 1979 when I decided to study success. I was absolutely committed to turning my life around. How did I demonstrate that commitment? I enrolled in Bob Proctor's teachings in his programs in 1979, and I never stopped. I just continued to reinvest and invest again and invest again. And of course, what happens is when you do that is you begin to see results. You start to see positive results. So that's the quote by Ken Blanchard. There is a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something, you'll do it when it's convenient. When you're committed to doing something, you'll accept no excuses, only results. There's two other quotes that I want to share with you that I pulled up for today. And so the intention of today's event is to help you understand what does it mean to be committed, but more importantly, to get you inspired to be committed and to have you demonstrate that you're committed as well. So here's the second quote that I want to share with you. This is a quote by a gentleman by the name of William Hutchison Murray. Listen to this. And here's what he said: until one is committed. Now listen to this and think about yourself as we're doing this, okay? Until one is committed, there is a hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness, right? Until one's committed. You see, you're going to have an experience of your old belief system is going to try and hold you back. It will. That just happens. Understand that's part of it. So there is a chance to draw back, okay? Always ineffectiveness. Then what the quote says is, concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. I'm going to come back to that in a moment, but here's what he also says. All sorts of things occurred to help one that would never otherwise have occurred unless the person was committed, right? All sorts of things occur to help one that would never have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. All right, so you think about that. Now, what did he say? He said, providence moves too. So what does William Hutchison Murray really mean by this? I want you to really get this, like really lean in as I share this with you. Because you do not have to know how you're going to accomplish your goal, your responsibility is to set the goal, make a commitment to the goal, and choose to feel the alignment of having that goal in your life. And when you've made that commitment, everything outside of you in the invisible, in the universe, is transpiring to bring it to you. And that's why he said, William Hutchison Murray said in his quote, this, he said, all sorts of things begin to occur. All sorts of things that would never even you would have imagined otherwise, right? A whole stream of events that occur that they come from the decision. All right, they're coming from the decision, raising in one's favor. So that means that you got to trust this process. You got to believe in the invisible. You got to understand that what you're creating might even seem to you, or might have previously seemed to you, impossible. But when you're committed to that outcome, everything that you need, and this is something that Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, everything requisite for the fulfillment of your goal will be attracted to you. And that essentially is what William Hutchison Murray is saying as well. When you're really committed, when you've made a decision that you're going to do something you've never done before, everything will be drawn to you. You attract it. Now, why does that happen that way? You attract based on how you feel. So when you're feeling the joy, the gratitude, the elation, whatever the emotion is, when you're feeling, maybe it's relief, maybe it's success, maybe it's confidence, Maybe it's faith. When you're feeling that, which are the feelings that you would feel were you to experiencing the goal that you have set for yourself, you're attracting everything into your life. Now, you won't know what's going on and you won't see all the steps to get there, but you've got to believe. You've got to believe in the outcome, knowing in your heart that it's already done. And so today we're talking about commitment. When you're really committed to your goal, really committed, I'm talking about there's no other way. There's no other way other than the fulfillment of that goal. That's what you've got to know and believe, that that goal is already done. It's in your life now. Now, here's a question that I'm going to ask you to write down. And I'm going to ask you to write this question down and to ask yourself this question several times a day. All right, get something ready to write this down. This is a really important question. All right, here's the question. How would I act and feel knowing that my goal or goals are already in my life? They've already been accomplished. How would I feel and act knowing that my goal has already manifested in my life? How would I feel and act? Now, I suggest you write that out on a piece of paper. You could write it on an index card. I have it written on an index card right here on my desk. And I suggest that you put it on several index cards or several little gold cards or pieces of paper. It doesn't matter what you put it on, and put it somewhere where you're going to ask yourself and answer that question every single day. Now, today, because we're talking about commitment, by you doing that, it'll demonstrate your commitment, that you're definitely committed to the outcome because you're doing the things that successful people will do. All right, there's one suggestion. Now, I noticed that Roddy, who is someone that I'm blessed to serve with, has put a link in the chat box for an event that we're doing on Friday. It's a free event, totally free to attend. It's 4 hours. It's called Power Life Script Live. And this is where I'm going to be going over, I'm going to be actually evaluating scripts for people that are going to be on the call. And I'm going to be giving feedback as well. And I'm going to share with you the most powerful technique to manifest any goal, regardless of what it is, regardless of where you are, into your life. Okay, so definitely get on that event on Friday. It's 4 straight hours. Join. Okay, great. And I suggest that even if you can't be there for the entire 4 hours, make sure that you register and watch the replay if you can't be on the call live. We will record it. Okay, we're definitely going to record it. Okay, now one more quote I want to share with you, and then I'm going to go to questions because we were already getting questions that have been submitted, and I'm going to answer questions. So the first quote that I shared you was from Ken Blanchard, which was about the difference between interest and commitment. The next quote I shared with you was from William Hutchison Murray. And the third quote I want to share with you, one of my favorite quotes of all time, it's a quote by Patanjali. And it goes like this: when you are inspired by some great purpose, some extraordinary project, all your thoughts break their bonds. Your mind transcends limitations. Your consciousness expands in every direction, and you will find yourself in a new, great, and wonderful world. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive, and you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. Now, here's a couple significant points from that very valuable quote. And here's one of the important points from that quote. Number 1, everything that you need to manifest your goal or goals is within you now. Everything you need. All right. So when Patanjali is saying all your thoughts break their bonds and your mind transcends limitations, so you don't see the limitations. You see only the objective. It's what Napoleon Bonaparte said. I see only the objective. The obstacles give way, right? You'll find that your consciousness, that's your mind, expands in every direction. Dormant forces, faculties, and talents become alive. Why? Because they were there in the first place. You already have the ability within you now to manifest anything that you want in your life. The ability is within you right now. So what happens is when you commit to a particular outcome, when you've made a decision that you're going to do something, this is when your mind transcends limitations and your consciousness expands. This is why in 1995, when I made a decision to purchase a house, an idea popped into my consciousness. Why? Because my mind transcended limitations. I wasn't looking at the fact that at that time, I didn't have the funds to buy the house. You see, you make a committed decision, you have no choice but to follow through. Then my mind went into other directions, into possibility directions, right? When you are genuinely thinking from your goal, there's a big difference, by the way. When you genuinely think from the goal, in other words, you're not thinking of the goal, you're not thinking, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if? You're thinking as if, you're feeling as if that outcome is in your life now. Big difference, huge difference. One will have you constantly in a state of want, and the other will have you in a manifestation mode. Now, the one that'll have you a constant state of want is when you're thinking of the goal. You're thinking, oh, I wish, wouldn't that be nice? Now, from the goal means I'm so happy and grateful now that you're acting as if, you're thinking as if, you're feeling as if that goal has already manifested in your life. And you know what the biggest benefit to all of this is? You know, as Patanjali said in that quote, dormant forces come alive, dormant forces, faculties, you know, and talents become alive. He said, you discover yourself to be a greater person by far than you ever dreamed yourself to be. Well, you were always that person. That ability was already there. You have the ability now. You got out of your own way, right? That's what you did. You got out of your own way. All right. Okay. We've got some questions coming in now, and this is perfect timing because that is exactly what we're going to do for the next 14 minutes is I'm going to address some questions. So I'm going to go to the first question that came in, and this is a question from Vitaly, and it's always great to have you on the calls. And Vitaly is a member of our Club Achieve program. And frankly, for any of you that are watching this, if you are not currently a member of our Club Achieve program, definitely go to clubachieve.com and check it out. You absolutely want to join us. Okay, so here's the question. The first question that's asked: how and what helps to never get discouraged no matter what has happened? How to stay in faith in such situations no matter what? All right. Now, I love that you are asking that question. And I know from personal experience, especially from 44 years ago when I began the study of what you're talking about, and then going through challenges in my own life as well. So the question is, how do you stay in good energy when all kinds of other things are going on in your life? Or let's use another scenario. And I'm going to expand on the question before I address it, but let's use another scenario. Let's say someone, and it could be someone that's here, has a desire to have more money in their life, but everything unlike it is what's showing up in their life right now. Maybe they've got bills or expenses. Maybe they're frustrated. They're not earning money. Maybe they've lost a job or whatever. Provided you reside in that energy of, hey, Tammy, provided you reside in that energy of lack, you will continue to experience the exact same results: lack, frustration, dissatisfaction. And that's not what you want. So you must override that. How do you do it is the question. You do it by controlling what you're giving your attention to. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Now, during the call earlier, I suggested that you write down the question, like, how are you feeling and acting right now, knowing that your goal has manifested in your life? So, Vitaly, that's what you would do. You would continue to ask yourself that question. Now that that goal has manifested in my life, how am I feeling? Now that that goal has manifested in my life, how am I feeling? Because you're going to go to a place, and that place is called your imagination. And you're going to go to your imagination, and you're going to imagine that the desired results are already there. So how do you deal with it? You choose to focus. You give it your attention. You start to say affirmations. You ask yourself positive questions. You turn on your Power Life script. You just do everything you can to put yourself back in alignment, in alignment. It's been known that there's a servo mechanism on airplanes called autopilot. And I was told that planes, even though they use autopilot, are off track the majority of the time that they're in the air. Why? Well, the wind comes along, pushes them off. Think about that in life. Think about it as it relates to your goal. You're going for your goal, and then something happens that pushes you off. Put yourself right back on track. How? Ask yourself better questions. Ask yourself, now that my goal has manifested in my life, how am I thinking and how am I feeling? That'll put you right back on track. Or say an affirmation or plug in your Power Life script. Whatever you need to do, do it. And that'll put you right back on track. You see, your mind is like a servo mechanism, but you have to lock it on target. It's like a missile, right? You lock it on target. And even though the target, may move or other things may come into play, you're not deviating from the set objective. You're staying focused on that outcome. You've got to become super duper disciplined, like seriously discipline yourself. Now, I suppose you are, because you're here and I see you here often. And I love that about you. You're very committed to the study. It's just a matter of disciplining yourself enough and on a frequency where you put yourself in alignment. And if, like an airplane, you find yourself out of alignment most of the time, put yourself back in alignment. Now, here's what's going to happen. This is important. What will happen is that once you've disciplined yourself and made that committed decision that you're going for it and that it's already in your life, you're feeling it in your life now, and you will discover that by being disciplined, that you will get more conditioned to the outcomes that you desire. Now, does that mean that you're never going to get off track? Oh, you'll get off track. Everybody does. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, how long you've been studying this. Everybody gets off track. But what'll happen is it'll be less frequent. You won't be getting off track on a regular basis. You'll be more on track than off track. And what that really says is that your dominant feelings, your dominant thoughts, your dominant feelings are more in alignment than out of alignment. And ultimately, that's how a plane gets to its destination. It gets back in alignment. If it didn't, it would end up somewhere else, right? Well, you can do the same because you're the one that's in control of what you think, and you're the one that's in control of how you feel. All right. Great question. Thank you for asking. The next question is, what would take me to write and publish New York bestseller book from South Africa, Durban? Okay, it's New York Times bestseller. So I just want to add that. I know that's what you meant. So no worries there. And so what would it take? Well, get on with the work, write the book, and then learn how to market it effectively. This is my specialty. I've been doing this for many, 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 many years. We actually created a program this year that's an extension of just making your book a New York Times bestseller. Why? Because I see so many authors that leave money on the table, and it certainly doesn't have to be that way. Anyone from anywhere in the world, doesn't matter if you're in South Africa or in Canada. I'm in Canada. I don't live in the United States, yet I'm a New York Times bestselling author. And that's one of the blessings of the internet, is it doesn't matter where you are, you can work or serve people anywhere in the world using this fabulous thing called the internet. And that's something that you can get involved in as well. So Emmanuel, what I would suggest to you is book an appointment with Vladdy. Vladdy's on the call today. She's also a team member of my company of Dynamic Destinies, and she'd be happy to meet with you to talk about a program that we have that could definitely help you with that. All right, our next question is from Malali, I think, and I apologize if I'm not saying your name properly, but here's the question. I would love some advice here. I'm committed to my goals. How can we protect our energy and belief system if someone very close to you doesn't believe that you can make it happen? Okay, understand this, and thank you for asking. Fabulous question. Number one, nobody causes you to feel anything. So take full responsibility for your feelings. Nobody is sucking your energy or taking your energy away. Nobody is impacting your beliefs unless you're allowing to them. And no one is causing you to feel anything unless you're allowing that as well. You're the one that's in control of what you feel. So if you have someone very close that doesn't believe in you or the goal, that's not your problem. It's theirs, okay? It's theirs. It's not even a problem. It's just they can own that. You don't need to own it. I'll tell you something. When I decided to write my first book, and I'm working on 21 now, when I decided to write my first book, my parents said to me, "Are you kidding? You're writing a book?" My parents didn't believe in me, but I didn't care. I didn't care. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. And I'm certain there were a lot of people, you could probably go back to my high school and ask people, do you think Peggy is likely to succeed? And I'm certain anyone that knew me back then would say, heck no, like not a chance. But I didn't care what they thought. You shouldn't either. What others think of you is none of your business. There was a book written years ago called by Terry Cole Whitaker, and it's called What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. And I want you to think about that. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Like my husband is a very left brain, analytical thinking guy. That's not me. I'm very right brain. I'm a possibility thinker. I'm an emotional decision maker. I make decisions with intuition. Sometimes they turn out phenomenal. Sometimes maybe not, but that's okay because we can make a new decision. I recognize that. We have a gift. And that gift that we've been given, all of us have been given this, is the gift of choice. So if my husband doesn't believe in something, I'll just say, oh, that's interesting that you would think that way. That's the way he thinks. I'm not criticizing him or condemning him or fighting with him or arguing with him. It is interesting that he would think that way. I understand why he would think that way. Not the way I think. It's certainly not the way I think. It's also unusual thinking. But you know what? Success defies logic quite often. When we decided years ago to purchase a home that was $1 million more than the one that we're in, my husband asked me, where's the money going to come from? Now, I knew that as an analytical, left brain thinking guy, he wanted to know. He wanted to have all the steps in place. As a matter of fact, when we started dating, he said, we're so different. I said, what do you mean? He says, you decide you're going to do something, bam, you're off, you're running, you're going to make it happen. You don't even know how you're going to get there. You're doing it. And he said, he was trained as a pilot. He was a pilot in the military. And he said, not only did they have a plan, they had a flight plan, they had a backup plan. And you know what else they did? They stuck the pilots, and of course you want this in your pilot, they stuck the pilots into simulators and created all kinds of scenarios, like the engine dropped off or birds flew into the engine or all kinds of scenarios that put the pilots into a situation where they had to figure it out and get out of these challenging situations. Now that's how they train them. So what are they doing? They're training them in the event of accident. And so Denny was of the mindset, you have to have a plan before you even take off. And not only do you have to have a plan, you have to have a backup plan. And you got to be ready with what they call plan B. Not my way of thinking. I don't think like that at all. I'm going for a destination. I don't know how I'm going to get there. And I know I don't have to know how I'm going to get there. Now, for most people, that's scary. It can be scary. But you got to understand, when you understand the process of manifestation, when you understand all of this, when you understand, you got to believe in something that's invisible. You're doing something that most people are not willing to do. You're doing something that most people aren't willing to do. Hence the reason why a tiny fraction of our population in the world live earning the 1%. That's where I am. I'm a 1% income earner. But I didn't come from that. I came from a poor family, a poor environment. Now, typically, people that are raised in that environment stay in that environment. People that are raised in struggle and in lack stay in that unless they make a committed decision to get out of it. That's why today we wanted to talk about commitment and what the difference is. So if you've made a committed decision that you're going to go for something, that you're going to accomplish something that you've never done before, then that is phenomenal. This is your greatest growth opportunity, because the truth is this: who you're going to become is going to be an extraordinary person. But that person is already there. Like the girl that I am today is the same girl I was, the same DNA that I was when I was 17 years of age. But I discovered I discovered the power that's within me as a human being. I discovered how to tap into the power of the universe. And when you do, what you'll discover is there's no limit to what you can create because there isn't. There's no limit to what you can create. You've got to be committed, though. Absolutely must be committed. Okay, well, we're at the bottom of the hour now, so we're going to wrap it up. We did put some links in here for you to attend another free event, 4 hours of phenomenal content, the most valuable content that's changed my life, going over a technique that's so flipping easy to use. Everybody should be using it. That's Friday's event. It's called Power Life Script Live. And Roddy put the link in here for you. So find that link or go to my website, PeggyMcColl.com. You'll find everything there. He also put in a link. We're doing Black Friday sales. We've already started them. I know it's an American tradition and we're in Canada. We're doing it anyways. Got some Black Friday deals that are only available right now. They will be shut down at the end of the month. So if you're interested, then check them out. Also, for any of you that are interested in joining our high-end programs or some of the programs where we're teaching entrepreneurs, where we're working with authors, where we're working with coaches, where we're working with people who want to absolutely create multiple sources of income or get into that 1%. We've got some programs that can give you some phenomenal guidance. Book an appointment with Vladdy. And if you didn't get any of the links while we've been on the call today, just go to my website, PeggyMcColl.com. Everything is there for you. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure to serve you again. I want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Roddy. Thank you, Vladdy. I really appreciate you guys. And I'll see you again real soon. I'll see you Friday. Join our event on Friday. I'll see you there. Bring a friend as well. All right. Thank you so much.